Hey guys, I have to confess that I've been a little out of the loop in the last few hours because, well, it's also a holiday here in Spain and I've come to have lunch at my parents' house. I didn't listen to last night's Partidazo on COPE. You have a talk show, the one we do every week with Quique Rezio from Madridismo al Dia, where we talk about the possibility of Mourinho or Klopp coming, which we recorded before the newspaper, as said yesterday, that Klopp is not coming after all. Today, there's news about Mourinho that I'll mention here in a moment, but of course I came across this because I insist I didn't listen to the radio last night. But I see Prieto Iglesias, the person in charge of VAR, a role Clos Gomez used to hold, saying absolute nonsense, and this doesn't mean anything. We're more than used to it by now. The thing about them seeing images of Mbappé bleeding in the VAR room and about him claiming that there isn't an adjoining room, when it was proven that there is, or at least that's what Clos Gomez himself said, and Estrada Fernandez himself, who today has come out to deny it, is just that, yes, we're always talking about the same thing, but, well, we can't stop talking about it, right? And reflecting on it. Well, that's it. This is the menu. Let's start with this first thing he said. Well, I don't know because I didn't watch the whole interview. It's just been clips I've caught from X, and then there's something I want to expand on. I'll do it in the next video, but this is enough for now. This is enough for now. Here talking about it, and Nacho Peña did a great job. Our Nacho Peña, a good friend of the channel and a personal friend too, in putting a little pressure on this guy because what he was saying was unbelievable. We thought that they hadn't seen the footage in the VAR room. Mbappé bleeding against Girona, but it turns out they did. How does this guy and how do others always get away with it? Well, it's very simple. We don't talk about specific plays, and then all those technical phrases they use, well, they can say them for one play or another. Those phrases they use to twist things work for anyone, right? They twist things when making decisions from the VAR and on the field, and then the explanations come from either the referee analysts who work in the media or the referee officials. Then, well, from time to time, they talk to some media outlet, and then the guy just says this and stays calm. Look, if you see Mbappé with his eyebrows split open, yes, I'm wrapping up. No replay needed.
That leads to the other question. We get the images. Maybe it's not your fault. It's just that they arrived. I mean, yes. If you have a guy bleeding on the ground, bleeding profusely, I can't believe you don't call a penalty. I just don't get it. Thanks.
About specific plays, I insist. No, I'm not going to.
Why do they always use, man, the wild card of no, we don't talk about that? Because when they want to talk about a specific one, they do. But when, They avoid discussing specific plays when they don't want to?
Imagine a guy, let's call him Mr. X, gets his eyebrow busted by an elbow. Iñaki Peña. Don't say it's Mbappé. It could be anyone. How do you not step in? Fans wonder about it. We just don't get it.
Well, in the end, it's a matter of studying the details of how it happened. I mean, whether the arm is in a natural or unnatural position, if there was an extra movement or not.
There are nuances. If he was bleeding like a fountain or not, right? Of course, no. The position of the arm, sorry, you could already see it in the image. I don't want to refer to Mugreto's play, but in the image, you could already see how he hits him with his elbow right on the forehead, but completely, absolutely full on. They saw that, and they also saw Mbappé bleeding. I know some time has passed since then. We were still there, still in a position to fight for the league. It was just one of many. Madrid wasn't even allowed to compete in some plays, so now it just sounds like complaining. I know many people come in here and say the same thing, accusing me of whining, right? Well, how could we not complain about this, right? The thing is, well, since Madrid is doing badly, since Barca is going to end up ahead by 11 or 15 points or however many, since it's been a few weeks already, you're still going on about this, right? Of course, you have to bring this up when a referee official comes along and tells you that these are just nuances. Man, it's unbelievable. There was contact, elbow to eyebrow or elbow to forehead. There was blood gushing out. You could see the blood on VAR and nothing was done.
Nuances, in the end, they're just nuances. And those nuances are often plays that might seem obvious, clear, and evident, but they're not. That could be, or it could be, as has happened, and this we can talk about, a type of review came out, the Rayo Vallecano play, where it's just a mistake. It's simply a mistake.
But that's contradictory. We say we don't talk about specific plays, and then he says these we can talk about. The one with Rayo Vallecano had its review time released, but so did the one with Mbappé. Come on, as far as I remember, it was said that VAR couldn't intervene there and so on. It also came out, even if it didn't. I'm not even sure anymore if it comes out, and honestly, I just don't care. For the ones that do come out, you get the review time, and for the others, you don't. because to reinforce his argument, in the end, he referred to a specific play, which was the one with Rayo Vallecano the other day. I don't remember. There was a mess, but I swear I didn't see anything. I already have enough going on with Madrid, and nothing that makes me reaffirm that the refereeing establishment is an absolute disaster either. But anyway, there he's referring to a specific play, and in Madrid's case, no, about that play you're talking about, as good old Rajoy would say. Anyway, let's see more. There was more around here. Well, of course, the VAR room thing, sorry, the adjacent room. The adjacent room is quite a show, the adjacent room. Prieto Iglesias on Cope last night. Now let's listen to it. We can't communicate or interfere from the adjacent room. Estrada Fernandez, Radio Marca, in 2023 said, there has been communication between the adjacent room and the VAR room. De Burgos Bengoechea, it's that clip from Radio Marca. I played it the other day. The one from Estrada Fernandez is really long. It lasts about 9 minutes, but he already said it. There's an adjacent room where they correct you, and there's communication, De Burgos Bengoechea said this, there's an adjacent room so that at any given moment, if a line is being drawn incorrectly, it gets corrected, but they don't make any decisions. That's what De Burgos Bengoechea said, but I mean, they don't make any decisions, but if a line is drawn incorrectly, it gets corrected. We're coming off what happened in Italy. The other day, we already made the comparison video, what happened in Italy and what happened in Spain. Because if now, according to Prieto Iglesias, and we're going to listen to him now, he says there's no other room and so on. This must be the case now, since before there was one. Let's listen to Clos Gomez now. So in Spain, it could very well have happened, aside from the Negreira case, exactly the same thing, which is now being investigated in Italy, tapping phones, etc. And here they let it go, and now there's something else. Maybe they've said, hey, this was really obvious, right? Now, definitely not, but it was never investigated, I insist. And in Italy, it was. Well, here there are two referees who disagree with him. First, let's listen to him, or if not, wait a moment, because I have it here. Criteria, right, regarding Clos Gomez, who was his, who was the previous head of the VAR. Let's listen to this one, which is a little bit longer. Wait.
While the match is going on, are you able to talk to them at any point?
No, I can't. And besides, it's strictly forbidden. Strictly forbidden.
Even if you are the boss?
Yes, it's strictly forbidden.
It must be now, since it wasn't before.
Don't go in that room and say, damn, just zoom in on the image instead.
The player icons and all that, no one can interfere. Not through the mic, not through audio, not by knocking on the door. It is absolutely forbidden. In fact, there's a little camera inside the room. It's called labor cam, inside the labor room, that's recording all the time. If someone comes in, if someone opens the door, if someone interferes in any way, it would be recorded.
Okay.
You were a dedicated VAR referee, along with Estrada Fernandez, who is now ranting in all the media about everything, and who even the other day hinted about the secret room that was receiving things and so on. Have you ever received, when you were in the VAR, any instructions or anything like that?
That has never happened. Never, never, never. In fact, the so-called secret room is the operations room, which is where I watch the matches, where the VARs are, where they come in at halftime and so on. And also at any time, any media outlet, Juanma, those of you here, you are more than welcome to go there, to see it, to watch a match with me, and to see and observe what that room is for.
And here, here on footballgate.com, they show what De Burgos Bengoechea said, which I've already shown you, right? And what he said, let's see if what Estrada Fernandez said is here. No, this is what De Burgos said. Okay? Pay attention, okay? Pay attention to the document. Pay attention to this point, as Garcia would say, about what Clos Gomez said at the time.
And then there's one last function, absolutely exceptional, which is that when a line is sent to the TV production to demonstrate or confirm an offside, or exactly the opposite. If after 10 or 15 minutes, the TV production broadcast hasn't shown it, this man, the reserve VAR, through an internal line, talks to the Hawkeye operator and tells him the line hasn't been shown, in case you want to contact the director to find out if it has been received. That's the only intervention, and in no case is there any mention of refereeing decisions, because first, it's prohibited, and second, the person designated to make the decisions is the VAR and the main VAR.
Here's what Clos Gomez said. It's different from what Prieto Iglesias tells us and from what the current VAR official says. Here it was said that if some time passed and there wasn't an image coming from the production, then here it says that communication is strictly prohibited. Besides, it says there's a fight.
Then one last thing.
But damn, enough, shut up. Klaus Gomez, you went to the Czech Republic and now there's a mess. I don't know if it was you, but it's quite a coincidence you showed up. Well, that's what Prieto Iglesias was saying. There's a replay where you can clearly see if something that shouldn't be happening is happening. The question is there one now? He says there is one now. Was there one in the times of Klaus Gomez? I mean, a year ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago? Was there one? Did we know if there was one? Because nothing has ever been known. In Italy, they caught the guy looking at the glass partition and saying, change it because a camera was there. But here, that becomes public. We should ask Gerard Romero if maybe you guys send him those videos, like someone from inside was sending him the audio recordings. It's just everything, really. But they couldn't be more transparent. They couldn't be more transparent. Look at what he answered here. It's transparent. Fernandez. He answered him in Catalan. This is half translated. We should tell Estrada Fernandez that it's fine. I respect all languages. Of course, I think you know me. That's not the issue. They're peninsular languages. To me, it's Spanish cultural heritage. It's the cultural richness of Spain. And I think it's fantastic. But there's a language, Spanish, spoken by more than 500 million people. It's the second most spoken native language in the world after Chinese. And besides, Chinese is only spoken in Mandarin, I think it was. It's only spoken in Chinese in that region. And then there are the Chinese people who have spread around the world. But Spanish is the second above English as a native language, by the way. But it's also more widespread. So it's truly a global language. Hey, if you want to clarify something with someone, the church project is this. As far as I know, it's not Catalan. If you want to explain something to him and tell us about it, write in Spanish, but whatever. Hey, to each their own. Now that Twitter translates, that's great. But honestly, Twitter translates badly. It says per comença. That's what it translates to, but I think it's clear. It says to begin or per comenzar, right? I'm not lying, Edu Prieto, and you know it. The difference is I have documents to back me up. And he refers to the Big Cup match and says, here you have a CTA document with the distribution of matches. Damn, Edu, you're there. He says, do the referees get a break? Yes. Acting as operations directors in the secret room, a role that's not even in the contract. This is really serious. He says, do the referees get a break? Yes. But they're acting as operations directors in the secret room, a role that's not even in the contract. You exploit the system and then you want to discredit it. And if necessary, I'll bring out more, he tells him every week. Or if you want me to remember the thank you Nacho from a Clásico. I don't know what that's referring to. It's curious that some people like Futo and company work so hard to cover everything up. He says the thing about Italy is funny, and he attaches this document where there's a list of matches and some subjects, nations at the bar, and then there's an operations director. And here was Edu Prieto, this one, well, Gorka Sawis. Iñaki Vicandi, who, by the way, and I found this out from, I don't know if it was Hechichero, I don't know who said it, and it's true. He also got coaching from Negreira's son, that Iñaki Vicandi guy. But anyway, this is what got him here, and it suggests that during that time, there was also someone there in the operations room. The referees were present and assured you there was no communication with the VAR room. But what certainty do we have of that? Seeing what has happened in Italy, seeing the things that have been happening in Spain, listening to Klaus Gomez saying, yes, yes. We don't usually talk to them, but if there's something going on, we talk to them. De Burgo Brangochea, if a line is drawn wrong, they tell us, man, so which is it, one thing or the other? Anyway, and finally, he talks to us here about the figures. About the dummies. This one is also incredible. This one is really funny. The semi-automated system. Look.
The figures are just for viewers to see on TV.
But they're not the ones making decisions. Correct. I almost died. The decision-making doesn't involve the virtual recreations, which are just the dummies you see on TV. That's simply a dramatization of how it happened. Well, it pisses you off. The decision-making obviously isn't done with some dummies, but rather with, if you want, we talk, we discuss. The semi-automated system with the south, the drawing of lines, the choice of the frame, the position of the forward, the position of the defender. And when the VAR has already validated the machine's decision and, let's say, authorizes the south operator, the south is the semi-automatic game system, the south operator says, hey, okay, we've already made the decision. They show the animation. It's so that people at home understand what happened. It's true that there have been cases. It's true.
Sometimes one figure has a size 47 foot while another has size 34. So you think, how could he be offside with a foot like that?
That's something we obviously have to work on so that if a recreation is made, it's understandable to illustrate the decision-making process and doesn't create confusion. I agree.
It's incredible. We've been talking about this for a long time, ever since I started the channel. It's true that the semi-automated system will start in Spain in the summer of 24, maybe even earlier. Well, we've been dealing with this for 2 seasons now. At first, it was just us complaining on Twitter and YouTube Real Madrid, and they called us, well, crybabies, conspiracy theorists, whatever. Earlier, we discussed the famous frame. There's still a human choice involved before it's recreated with the small figures. That's why Tebas said the other day, it's only semi-automatic. It's a mess. It needs to be fully automatic. Haven't we been saying this for a long time? That as long as there was a referee choosing a frame, as long as there was a referee drawing lines, as long as there was a referee making a decision in an institution. Absolutely corrupt, because the club corrupted it for more than 2 decades, paying the second in command of the referees more than 8.4 million euros. And his son providing coaching to some clubs, some referees, until that was cleaned up, until that tumor was properly removed. Sorry for the language, but so it's clear, well, things weren't going to change. Hey, well, the same ones who were powerful in that absolutely mafia-like and corrupt structure, as Judge Aguirre said in a court order, until all of that was cleaned up, all those people were kicked the hell out. Where do we get them from? As Fran Soto said the other day, damn, just kick a rock and 20 referees will show up from wherever. Or bring the ones from China or anywhere, I don't care. Well, the suspicions are going to remain. There's nothing automatic here, even the semi-automatic. Well, that's why it's called semi, but we knew there was so much human involvement, and this gentleman is confirming it for us. Anyway, it's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Well, just to bring a bit of football into this, and because of today's news from ABC about Mourinho, I don't know how things are going with Mourinho and with Klopp. I don't rule him out, regardless of what Jose Felix Diaz said yesterday. This info is from ABC. Florentino will travel to Portugal to meet with Mourinho. Although the president had doubts about the option of Jose Mourinho, his candidacy has gained strength in recent days after Jose Angel Sanchez intervened to change that initial idea. He has reconciled with Jorge Mendes as their relationship changed after Cristiano Ronaldo left, which was widely known. Madrid did not like Mourinho's stance in the Vinicius Prestiani case, but they have already moved on. Well, anyway, of course, in the end, things that need to be moved on from for self-serving reasons eventually get left behind. Florentino will personally go to Portugal to meet with Jose Mourinho in the next few days. This isn't incompatible with, I can actually believe this information. We'll treat it cautiously for now, but it's not incompatible with what has happened. I think it was today at the press conference for Benfica's upcoming match. At Benfica's press conference with Jose Mourinho being asked about this issue. There are subtitles, I think, so you'll be able to understand it. Besides, Portuguese is understandable.
Well, thank you. Now, picking up on the words here and on my colleague's question, could you also imagine yourself in a situation like Rui Borges, at this moment, for example, having a ceremony where they would extend and guarantee that you would stay at Benfica for many years? And after a week in which there was a lot of talk about Real Madrid, allow me to ask you if there has been any direct contact with you or with Benfica's management, considering your possible move to the Spanish capital. Thank you.
No one from Real Madrid has contacted me.
That's it. Nobody from Real Madrid has spoken to me. That matches the information we've read before, right? That Florentino is going to go there to talk to him. Because he hasn't done it yet.
I can't guarantee anything. I've been in football for so many years, just like you've been in journalism, and we're already used to these things, but nothing from Real Madrid. As for ceremonies, I'll be honest. I'm done with ceremonies. I don't really like them. I only do what I'm obligated to. Even my introduction at Benfica was here in a ceremony that wasn't even a ceremony. It was just a presentation.
Here he's talking about celebrations. That was the first thing they asked him. But basically, he's already answered about Real Madrid. No one has said anything. Wait, I'm not worried. Well, basically, he said what we were saying, that it wasn't incompatible with that information from the ABC newspaper. No one from Madrid has spoken to me, but he knows that someone from Madrid, maybe the most important guy, Florentino, is going to talk to him. So be careful, okay? Be careful. Don't let it be that the club has already said no and closed the door for good, and the move is happening this week or next, and they wouldn't announce it beforehand for the league to finish, but it's likely at the end of May. Oh my God, if Mourinho comes back to Madrid, oh my God, oh my God. A lot of people want him, huh? A lot of people want him, and I don't dislike him at all, especially because of the impact he's going to have in the locker room. I think it's fantastic. They're scared of someone who comes in to fix things. I think it's great. The thing is, it's going to be huge in the media. For content creators and journalists, it's fantastic for us. But more than what's good for me, I want things to go well for Real Madrid. And honestly, among the options available, many are busy with the World Cup until it's over, and this needs to be resolved by the end of May. There are others who aren't convincing. There are younger coaches now, so if you want another Xavi Alonso or Arbeloa, don't get involved in that. Because they want that profile, it's very likely Mourinho. Very likely. Start getting used to it, okay? Careful, careful. Well, all the best to you. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share. I invite you to watch the talk I had with Kike Rezio this morning, which hasn't had many views. Please show it some love because it's really good. I think it's really good. Maybe I shouldn't say that myself. Anyway, see you in the next one. Bye.